Dear participants, welcome to 6th International Symposium on Multidisciplinary Studies and Innovative Technologies. The symposium is organized by Tokat Gazi Osman Pasha University from Turkey. The symposium is technically sponsored by IEEE Turkey section. Thank you for your scientific contribution and support to the symposium. Let's start the session if you want.
Yes,
First,
Doctor. Can I start?
First, yes. First paper belonged to their Siri Pornomo Sari. Are you ready to present?
Thank you.
Thank you. If you are ready, you can start your presentation.
Okay, thank you. I will start my presentation.
You have 10 minutes at most, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Please.
Wait a minute.
You can share your screen.
Okay, wait a minute. So, it's fine?
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thanks to committee, I will present my presentation at 6th International Symposium on Multidisciplinary Studies and Innovative Technology. With my research is development of infectious waste, sterilization and neutralization system, paper ID 268. My name is Purmosari, and my colleague Nur Sultan Salahuddin, Sri Hayuningsih, Romawati Ramadan, Ariel Ciraldi, Ihsan Purnama, Nora Tisna Jumewa. For the first, I will present introduction as 5 introduction, material, method, result, discussion, and conclusion. Independent midwife practice, it's called in Indonesian PMB, a place implementing a series of midwifery service activity carried out by individual midwives. Any regulation of Minister of Health Republic Indonesia foresees the permit and implementation of the practice midwife. This is the independent midwife practice in Indonesia. This my colleague, my partner to research, his name Ade, Karnita, and Masina. Independent practice midwife practice is service provided about health counseling, family planning counseling, assisting birth, postpartum care, baby care, family planning service, include IUD, intrauterine device, injection pills, immunization for mother and baby, adolescent reproductive health. But independent midwife practice, there's a negative impact of this independent practice, like the generation of solid waste in the form of cotton, tissue, bandage, and the PEP, and that are still mixed with the blood, which is called infectious waste, like this, and generate an infectious waste about 39 something kilogram per day. Material suspects containing pathogens, bacteria, virus, parasite, in certain concentration, quantity cause disease susceptible to the host. And if the handling of waste is not appropriate, the potential to cause harm to human health or the living things and the environment. The purpose of this research, development in the design of medical waste treatment system, so that can use in health center and maternity clinics, so as to prevent disease transmission for patient, staff, and visitor, cost and health service, and reduce pollution that will be released to the environment. And material and method describes infectious waste sterilization and neutralization system. There is a washing tank, an infectious waste tank, a sterile tank, a water tank, metal tank, chemical liquid jam, bacterial starter tube, and electric motor is used to rotate infectious waste, water pump, a water level sensor, and solenoid valve. There's the description of infectious waste, sterilization, and neutralization system. There's a washing tank, sterile tank, water tank, metal tank, and there are 4 pumps, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the pump is include solenoid valve, water level. Sterile and neutral filter coating material is cotton, filter material, cotton, zeolite stone, activated carbon sand, and ceramic ring and variable and function to cotton to hold and filter amperate, zeolite stone for molecular filter exchanger, and etc. And infectious washing process, there's a collection tank with hole and small rubber. And then for disinfectant material, there's chlorine, alcohol, hydrogen peroxide. Disinfectant material to remove pathogenic microorganisms that live in infectious waste. For infectious waste water sterilization process, there's the resource infectious water washing process in the washing tank, a suck pump 1 into the sterile tank. It consists of filter cotton, jet mat filter cotton, activated carbon sand, filter cotton, black filter cotton, zeolite stone filter cotton, jet mat filters, jet mat filter cotton, ceramic ring filter cotton. There is the for sterilization process. And then for naturalization process, there is a filter cotton, and jet mat, zeolite stone, filter cotton, activated carbon sand, filter cotton, ceramic ring, and variable. For the and figure 7 show the design and infectious waste treatment system with the control system using PLC, programmable logic control device. The process the sterilization and neutralization infectious waste using chemical disinfection method. There's the design of infectious waste sterilization and neutralization system, and for B control system using PLC device. And infectious waste testing process before washing contain blood stain, with saliva, wound, medicine added to the waste, so that the waste contain harmful microorganism or bacteria, so the waste is said to be dirty. This is the infection waste before washing and after washing. Waste for after washing with water and washing solution, chlorine, hydrogen peroxide, alcohol becomes clean and sterile. It is said to be clean. To kill them from type of bacteria, protozoa, and virus content in the waste using alcohol and chlorine. So the waste is said to be clean. Waste testing after washing is done by testing the biological properties of the waste sample 5 days. This is the testing water sample before and after filtering using seawater. Water before being filtered or water used to wash waste contain high chemical, chlorine, hydrogen, chloroperoxide, alcohol. Blood was one medicine mixed with water. The water mixed with seawater change color very quickly, and there are lots of gas bubbles, so the water contains very high chemical. And there is a water testing process. The water after filtering is said to be quite clean, and the filtered water is mixed with seawater for 1 day. The water does not change color and only a few gas bubbles occur. The water contains very low chemicals, so the water is stable for use in subsequent washing. And the water can only be used 2 times. After that, the water must be replaced with new so that the waste washing process works properly. For the sample of apparatus design, the decontamination of infectious waste by chemical method and combined filtration correspond to the test result obtained in the reduction of all microorganisms in the effluent. Due to its original technology and short decontamination cycle and low production cost, it can be a good choice to replace or device in use. In general, the result of the waste disposal experiment show that the simultaneous use of infiltration and chemical method can be appropriate method to replace the conventional disposal system. And the system is ready to be fabricated and used in the midwives independent practice. The result conclude that the infectious waste treatment system was functioning properly. The working principle system like washing machine, where the washing process is sterile and natural for infectious waste using chemical, chlorine, alcohol, hydrogen peroxide, and bacterial starter. And filter elements sterile and natural using cotton, zeolite stone, activated carbon sand, ceramic grain, and bioball. Infectious waste disinfection study was carried out and washed in the form of cotton cloth bandage and paper towel. The maximum capacity of the tank in the decomposition tube is 5 kilograms, and washing process to clean infectious waste water takes 40 minutes. The disposal of infectious waste material will be safer for the community and everyone around the disposal site, and the manufacturing cost will be less expensive. Thank you for contacting with my email. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your presentation. Dear Parsim, do you have any question about the paper?
Okay, I will stop my stuff. Thank you.
Okay, thank you again. No question. I wish you success in your career.
Okay, thank you.
Next paper belongs to dear Zdravka Koleva. Are you ready to present? Dear Koleva.
Hello, I'm here.
Okay, if you are ready, you can present your study.
Yes, yes.
Okay. You can share your screen.
Everything is okay with my screen?
You can share your screen. Okay. You have 10 minutes, please, at most.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
You can start.
Dear colleagues, my name is Zdravka Koleva and I'm going to present our report. We are very happy to continue our participation in the conference this year. This paper analyzes the need for generalized approach to planning and designing a gamification. Game principles and logic have been used long before the concept of gamification. Research into possibilities of gamification to solve problems in various areas and contexts was seen notable increase during the past decade. The areas in which the principles of gamification are applied are in marketing, in human resource management, in education, and training, self-training. These areas overlapping these demands a meticulous analysis of the contextual factors and specifics that govern the choice of tools to influence the target audience. The foundation of which most definitions of gamification are built is most commonly linked to the concept that gamification can include interrelated subsystems, it can motivate, it can alter behavior and habits, it can build loyalty. What gamification should not be confused with, despite the partial resemblance. Advertising games, serious games, team building games, other specialized games to accomplish various goals. The personalized approach offers great advantages before the non-personalized one, regardless of the sphere in which it is applied. It is important to understand the connection between the types of motivation and the gaming instruments, principles, and logic applied to different user types. Omissions of this regard often lead to failed projects. The building of motivated behavior in gamified person can be accomplished by the gradual creation of a captivating experience, the setting of clear and attainable objectives, promptly rewarding effort, continuous control of the adaptation of the current environment, factors, and objectives. This experience can be reinforced by initiation into a so-called magic circle, which can give participants a sense of belonging to the community.
Dear Koleva,
Yes, excuse me, I make one mistake.
is there any problem?
No, everything is okay. The building of motivated behavior in gamified persons can be accomplished. Now, unifying software capabilities with the means of marketing psychology application of various approaches to managing the target audience, enhanced by the possibilities of gamification, allows shortening the deadlines to accomplish basic goals. In this paper, gamification is examined in a more general plan by proposing a generalized approach to planning and implementing gamification. This approach can be applied to a larger number of spheres, following necessary adaptation. The stages listed in the slide trace the sequence that enables reaching the main goals as fast and as effectively as possible. Stage 1 and 2 are completed at the assigner gamification level. Stages 3 and 4 are completed at the methodology level. Stage 5, 6, and 7 are completed at the gamification level. When does the need for gamified solution arise? Planning a gamified solution should not only be done when a problem arises, to prevent it or to overcome its consequences. Gamification can also be used to create new opportunities. Depending on the goals defined and the assigner's actual capabilities, different gamified solutions and tools can be selected to involve the gamified persons. Deciding what software to use to accomplish the desired outcome depends to the assigner of the gamification and their individual capacities. A range of software development options can be chosen. The decision whether to hire specialists to develop a personalized product or whether the company is to independently plan and implement its own gamified solution needs to consider the advantages and disadvantages of both strategies. The scale of gamification and the period to run and implement a project determines its costs. A variety of tools can be used for the technical aspects of gamified software projects, such as Redmine, TestLink, JUnit. Approaches to modeling gamification uses standard modeling languages, using formal or mathematical models, using visual languages for fast prototyping in the gamification domain. Each approach has its advantages and may be favored before the rest depending in the project goals. What is a user analysis necessary? This allows outlining the major and more significant groups which can be influenced using similar tools. Based on the sphere and its specifics, custom groups and their characteristics can be defined or already available classifications can be used. For example, Hexat. To build motivation for this user, a custom or a readily available framework, such as Marchesky's Run, can be deployed. Planning a gamified strategy is attended by a number of potential mistakes, what may occur during or after implementing the gamification, such as shown on the slide. The overall benefit of the gamification applied is the result of knowing one's needs, the specifics of the environment, the personal potential, and correctly setting the goals. The capabilities of modern day software will play the ever greater role in the building gamified projects, increasing the overall familiarity when this type of service will improve the attitude of not only narrow specialists but also of small enterprises, the private persons, which relate in assessing the overall benefits of gamification done right. Thank you for your attention.
Thanks for your presentation, dear Pasmi. Do you have any question about this paper? Okay, no questions. Thank you again. I wish you success in your study.
Thank you.
Next paper belongs to dear Ömer Almazroğlu.
Yes, Doctor.
If you are ready, you can start your presentation.
Okay. I cannot share the screen. She has
Okay.
to.
Okay, right away. Okay, you can start.
Okay.
You have 10 minutes, please.
Okay. Today we'll talk about my paper, which is the Internet of Things network penetration testing model using attack graph analysis. This is an overview. As we can see, exploit of a vulnerability system has increased recently, and IoT devices are vulnerable to attack, which became evidence for a series of recent large-scale distribution denial of service attacks, which cause a financial loss. IoT device responds for like 32% of all cellular and Wi-Fi infection in 2020. We have three definitions here, which are a network graph, which is an abstract that represents the path by which an attacker could break a security policy. The second one is a pen testing, which is a simulated cyber attack where a professional ethical hacker referred to as the red team infiltrate corporate networks or system to find a vulnerability before they can be found by an attacker. IoT device or IoT is a network of physical devices or objects that are interconnected and equipped with a software sensor as well as other technologies to exchange data over the internet. The problem background, we have a lack of approach to detect multi-stage attacks. We have a lack of accuracy. The previous model is not testing on a real world IoT system. We have difficulty on detecting a zero-day vulnerability. And this is our model. We have a 3 phase in our model. First phase is data collection, and second phase is attack graph generation. Third phase is evaluation. For the data collection, we created a vulnerability database and node database, and also network topology. On the second phase, we have 2 algorithms. First algorithm will create attack graph paths, and second algorithm will generate critical attack graph paths and the critical nodes and critical vulnerabilities. This is our data collection extraction. We will collect data from, for example, from the network to create a network topology, and from different sources such as MVD and exploit database to create a CVE information and critical parameters. The first thing we will do what's called the reachability matrix by scanning each subnet network using Nmap software through Python. After we scan the network, we will generate what's called a traceroute XML file. From this traceroute XML file, we will extract all the nodes. From these nodes, we will create a graph by connecting each node on the subnet to the main gateway. And from the graph, we will generate a reachability matrix or list to use it as an input on our algorithm. Here, common vulnerability and exposed parameter. First parameter, we have to know the CPE, which is common platform enumeration. This is, we can collect it by scanning the network and knowing the services port. After knowing the services port, there is a CPE related to this, to each services port. We have to convert this CPE to CPE 2.3, which is the standard version, to compare it on to the MVD database and extract the related CVE to it. The second parameters we will collect it from MVD database by dumping all the JSON file from MVD database by using Python pandas, which is a data science library in Python. We will extract all the CVE parameters, and also we'll generate another data set that has CVE and CPE related to it. The third one is an exploit database. We will collect our exploit database from exploit database site and from the CVE references on MVD database. From the exploit database, we will use search exploit. It's a program to search to know the exploit for each CVE. Also, we use the files on the exploit database GitHub site. Another thing, we use scribing. We scrub the information from the exploit database. And the CVE references in MVD database, we extract all, we defined all the CVE that has an exploit. By combining all these information, we generate an exploit database, as you can see here. Also, the fourth one, exploit programming language. We have to know the programming language for each exploit to exploit this to exploit the vulnerability. We use exploit database and CVE also, same process as before, to know all the programming language related to each CVE, as you can see here. The fifth one, which is a batch. We have to know if this CVE has a batch or not, because we will use this parameter on algorithm 2, which is the critical nodes. 6.1 precondition, post-condition, and authentication. We use here MLB to predict the precondition of the vulnerability and post-condition, and also authentication. 7, we made penetration testing. This can help us to reduce zero-day vulnerability. This is our traditional penetration testing. First of all, we have to collect an information, then do second one, do a software exploitation. If it's not work, we have to do a hardware exploitation. We did a penetration testing for 3 devices, IoT devices. First one, which is a VAVA out wireless security cam. Second one, Mercator Smart Gateway, and the third one, Kramer Viago 2. Here, as you can see, we use exploit hardware hacking to gain access to the VAVA. First of all, we have to know if the UART on the PCP on the device. Then we connect what's called USB to UART adapter to access to the device. What we got unreadable data, so we have to know the baud rate of this connection. So we use a digital analyzer, Celisa digital analyzer, to know the exact baud rate. After we knowing the exact baud rate, we access the camera, and we discovered that if we press F key, we can enter a fail-safe mode. From the fail-safe mode, we modify some booting scripts and got reverse shell to our server on the internet. After we get a root reverse shell on our server, we modify files, Drupal SSH file on the system to gain access to the camera through SSH internally through SSH. The second one, we did the same process used on VAVA, and we gain access, but here we cracked the etc password and etc shadow file, and we got a password. This password we can use it to, an attacker can use it to attack many devices on the internet. The third device we use, which is Kramer Viago 2, we discovered that MySQL use specific username and password by decrypting the PHP files on the system. Here, a common CVE critical parameters. We have 5 critical parameters. First of all, the categories of the vulnerability. By them, we use exploit database, then extract all the information using probe suite. Also, the authentication. And third one is a factor, a vendor factor, and fourth one, age of exploit, and fifth one, how the exploit is. On which side the exploit is available. Here, our algorithm 1, as you can see, from algorithm 1, we can generate an attack graph paths. Algorithm 2, it has 2 critical metrics. First one is the node CVS, and the second one, vendor and hackers. For the first one, to know the critical vulnerability, we have to use this table. This table, if a vulnerability is higher and it has an exploit and doesn't have a patch, it will be a critical vulnerability. And for the critical node, the algorithm will calculate the maximum number of paths, as you can see here in the table, and what's the maximum privilege gain with the minimum vulnerability. For the critical paths, this is the shortest path from the attacker node to the target node with the critical nodes. And for the vendor and hacker matrix, for the critical vulnerability, we use this table. It has 5 parameters. The sum of these 5 parameters will define if the vulnerability is critical or not. At the end, the modeling of IoT system as a network graph provide an opportunity to analyze the system for security approach and vulnerabilities. As a methodology, a network graph are likely to model IoT vulnerability with the useful results. Also, there is a need to test more parameters that enhance the ability to compare several attacks graph and mitigating this vulnerability of complex IoT network. Thank you.
Thanks for your presentation.
You're welcome.
Dear Pasmi, do you have any question about this paper? Okay, no question. Thank you again. I wish you success in your career.
You're welcome, Doctor. Bye.
Okay. Next paper belong to dear Hadel Sapti Rarraf El Sadun. Dear Hadel Sapti.
Yes, Doctor.
Okay, if you are ready, you can start your presentation.
Tamam.
You can share your screen. You can activate your voice. Dear Hadel Sapti, are you ready? We can't hear you because your voice is inactive.
Hello.
Hello.
Sorry, net is not clear.
Okay. Please, you have 10 minutes. You can start your presentation.
Okay. Good morning. I am Hadil Sabti Asadun, master study in Altanbash. I will explain my paper. Image filtering and improves noise using ampology on-speed algorithm. Introduction. Several processing, image processing in display in several areas, ranging for intermittent of the control of interest processor, along with the capture and the transmission of image. There is noise that can be generated by several factors, being the unvariable future in a single to seek enter signal. Better filters that can remove improve function, keeping all the information present in the image, as well as detail the big obstacle is basically the fact that such this context there is a proposal for the fusion of two concept image processing being done in the subject of on several fronts, and the result have shown to be quite inconvenient, which prove to the promising area. objective of this paper is deep study in variation, a context future algorithm, and the implementation of sequential and parallel version and verify what the actual can be teams of equation time. Parallel estimation take place not only by exploiting or the CPU cross, but those of GPU through the OpenCV library, which also performs a series of functions used during the expansion phase of the features from the image by exploiting the power of the video card. This library of the also used by the others of the eco future, but the version currently available that does not yet provide for the full implementation of the image transmission feature use GPU. In fact, their team offer that which future a version of the OpenCV. It is possible of the easy obtain better performance in terms of execution time. Roasted method, process ferting scheme. I will be described in this part how great technology future of the step setup of the implementation of the Bayes genetic filtering algorithm may be activated the technology on the machines of the algorithm and dactyl to those give to be fire algorithm section except for the extension that will be revealed later. Extron is represented by starring middle 68 bits, which is different as follows. There are many types of noise, and among the best now are some such cation or impulsive. The main gloss of the blending filter as smooth of the image, remove noise, enhancement, and edge extension. In this paper, will propose the combining of the powerful set of Bayes rules with the genetic algorithm pattern reaction feature to filter in the image from impulsive noise, yet reaching the image feature, inverting those performing powerful noise filtering on this noise without the destruction the image itself. Result. The section present the results on this paper. Three noise were constant discriminations chosen and circle first. The best result of the restoration of the image affected by each of the noises will be shown. Then the best result of the signal noise ratio being maximum would be shown. Soon after, comparison of the result will be made with the first filtering made by the average filter of the median and winner. Finally, the optimal convergent offset the genetic algorithm in the first image will be applied in another image. The main goals of applying filter are to smooth the image, remove noise, enhancement, and each direction. This figure, the best result of filtering image for each noise were shown. To obtain this result, the entire process of the maximizing the signal to noise ratio through the genetic algorithm was performed 50 times for each of the noises, concentrating the visual aspect. The filter behave will for discrimination and cousin noise, and not so will be speckly noise. In this figure, the good fluctuation of the genetic algorithm and allowed use the configure throughout the test. How many generation would be necessary to reach the optimal convergent entirely are very high number for generation will different and it will not cause that the gain was very low in ratio of the completion cost use the addition of the number generating the crossover and mutation absented could be discussed. Thanks to the analysis of the graph in terms of genetic algorithm, minimizing the error nor and minimizing the signal to noise ratio under the normalized conduction make the opposite.
Thanks for your presentation. Dear participants,
Hello.
do you have any question about this paper?
Sorry. Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
Dear Hadel Sapti, you finished your presentation?
Hello. Sorry.
Okay, you can continue. Okay, next paper belong to dear Mustafa Muhammed Abdul Kerim. Dear Mustafa Muhammed Abdul Kerim. Dear Alexander Milov.
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, if you are ready, you can start your presentation.
Yes. I'm ready to give me the rights of control of my presentation. Would you like?
Yes.
Thank you.
You can share your presentation screen.
Yeah, just a minute.
Okay.
May I start?
Okay. You have 10 minutes, please, at most.
Yes. It's enough for me for my presentation. I'd like to present our research work as a pseudo-physical logic, a control of cybersecurity system. What is the main ideas and what is the structure of my presentation? First, the issue of applying the method of situational control instead of classical control theory to ensure the safe functioning of objects of social cyber-physical system. Next, logical transformation rules that form the foundation for building a situational type cybersecurity control system. Third, one of the main tasks of system of this type is described the task of completing or replenishing the description of the situation. The use of pseudo-physical logic is proposal in our research, and various type of pseudo-logical, the method of their construction and their interrelation are considered. And finish, the particular attention is paid to causal pseudo-physical logic as the least developed for the purposes of ensuring cybersecurity. The main idea of our research to change the paradigm of control in social cyber physical system for cybersecurity. And instead of classical control theory, we proposed to use the situational control theory. And the main ideas of this and the main items of this theory is the situation. And we'll denote complete situation. There are some definitions of situation, and we use the following. First, we define two types of situation, so-called the complete situation, denoted as SI, and current situation. The current situation reflects the situation on the control system, and the complete situation take into mind the state of the environment. A set of attacks, a set of hackers, and some others. A set maybe of resources for defenders. And the control system has add different ways on influencing the control object, so-called one-step solution. Each such decision will be noted as U with index K. And the elementary act of control is as follows. If the situation Q J has developed at the control object and the state of the control system and the technological control scheme determined by SI allow to use of the influence UK, then it's applied. And the current situation Q J turns into a new situation. The formal record of this action can be represented as the following on the screen. And such transformation rules are called so-called logical transformation rules or maybe correlation rules. And this is a main position of situational control theory. The main task the main task is to build a special system that provides completion of the descriptions coming to the input of system. In the most general form, the system can be defined as a system of production. It's a logic, the algebra of logic, and the formal representation is on the screen, where when gamma means some condition, the fulfillment of which allows the use of the products. Let's alpha denotes a fragment of the structure or descriptions of situation which is subject to transformation. And the transformation itself consists in replacing fragment with a new fragment. And within the framework of solving the problem of descriptions, the fragment beta must be in some sense richer than the fragment A, alpha. And finally, gamma is some condition modify gamma, and after applying the production, this modifier change the condition of applicability of this rule or leaves it unchanged. Production system that we production system have a number of properties that makes them a very convenient tools for describing a description completion system and its software implementation. The main properties is on the screen: autonomy, and asynchrony, and mapping to operator system. And short descriptions of these properties represent on this table. You may read, and this is short descriptions and of these properties. And these properties is very important for cybersecurity system. Because a lot of defenders, a lot of hackers, a lot of attacks may be present in at the same time in social cyber-physical system. Next step, for certain class of relation, it would be desirable to build a so-called deductive production system that would allow the necessary completion of description without storing a large number of scenarios in the system memory. It's necessary to know that scenario is one of the very popular way to represent the attacks from attacks way, a process of attacks, a process of defending and circle. One of the classes of such deductive system are pseudo-physical logic. The name pseudo-physical logic reflects the fact that their inference rules use the properties of human perception. It's very important, human perceptions of the surrounding world. not just a physical law, a physical system, but and a social system. And human perceptions is very important. And this has a number of subjective features. Therefore, they don't describe the objective physical worlds, but is subjective perception by a person, which is extremely important for cybersecurity system. And we collect features of pseudo-physical logical and represent in this table. And the main, it's our viewpoint, the main features are following. Pseudo-physical logic are the logic of relation. It's objective relation, and it's necessary to represent in this type of logic. Next, pseudo-logic are logic on scales, and we measure different factors in a cybersecurity system, and we use different metrics, different factors, and the pseudo-physical logic, logic on scale is it's a main idea of for different metrics. The scales are both facts and inference, not just facts, but inference and logical inference are very important when we decide what type of defense actions may be used in the future, or maybe in current situation. So this feature of pseudo-physical logic is very important. So the scales are both facts and inference. And the axioms of pseudo-physical logic are based on the perception of the world by man. I already said that man is the main part of social cyber-physical system, and the main part of cybersecurity system in the control loop. So the perceptions of the world by man is very important for use of pseudo-physical logic. And then finish the relationship of pseudo-physical logic. We represent the relationship between pseudo-physical logic and in cybersecurity system, the main logic is logic of actions. So, but this logic is based on some another types of logic. First, logic of space, logic of time, and logic of combination of this logic, logic of space actions, space-time, time actions. But the main type of logic is very famous and very developed. It's a spatial logic and temporal logic. But it's necessary to focus your attention on logic of goals and logic of assessment. Logic of assessment allows to develop a new metrics, new system of measuring and some others. But logic of this type is the main part of cybersecurity system. Logic of goals. There are different levels of goals. For instance, strategic goals, tactical goals, operating goals, but a logical of goals should be developed in future. But this type of goals of pseudo-physical logic is the fundamentals or logical of actions, and the main role in this relationship of logic is so-called causal logic, and all this logic, the set of logic, pseudo-physical logic, is the fundamentals of logic of actions that the main logic for cybersecurity system, and that predict maybe the actions of defender in this system. The structure of pseudo-physical logic represent on this screen, and there
Dear Alexander Milo, please hurry up. Okay, continue.
yeah.
Okay.
Now I be short, in short, original description and 3 steps: instruction, structure representation, and inference model, and as a result, completion of the description and classification of causal relation represent on this slide. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thanks for your presentation. Dear participant, do you have any question about this paper? Okay, no question. Thank you again. I wish you
From
success.
Franklin University of Applied Sciences. I have actually 2 questions about his presentation.
Okay, okay, you can ask.
The first one, can you go back to the slide 3 in your presentation? Yeah, this one, that's right. So you have something which maybe is this synonym that you have the correlation rules and the logical behind it. So
Yes,
is this,
I understand. Yes.
and do you have something like a matrix or something? Because this, the one thing is the logic behind it. The other thing, this is more or less a quantitative stuff if you have correlations. So how do you combine these 2 things or take it similarly?
Yes, I understand your question. And as for your question, logical transformation rule is a general form of transformation of current situation. And in situational control theory, this type of logical transformation called sometimes as a correlation rules. But correlation rules define that we may use some correlation factors for just a minute. For compare some situation, for instance, current situation, a future situation, and maybe not a strong relation between the situation. So we may use some correlation factors, and so this logical transformation rules sometimes as a correlation rules in situational control theory.
They just name it. It's not similar taking it because it's different for me.
Maybe, but in general situation control, this definition of logical transformation rule, correlation rules use as synonymous.
Okay.
And
I think I don't understand the idea behind it really.
Yeah.
Another question maybe at the end is just, do we have an application for it? Or maybe a tiny little example for an application? Maybe then it's gonna get a little bit clearer than it's for me as it is now.
I suppose that at the next year, in the future, at next year conference in Turkey, we represent that some practical approach and some practical results of our theory. And these first attempts to propose and maybe draw some directions of our.
But at the moment, you don't have any.
No.
Okay, good. Thanks a lot.
Just a theoretical approach.
Yeah, it's just a theoretical one, and you don't have any applications at the moment, but you're planning to have one.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
so I understood you right.
We are planning.
Okay. Thanks a lot for your
Thank you for your question.
Okay. Dear participant, do you have any question about the paper? Okay, no question. Thank you again. I wish you success, dear Alexander Milov.
Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. Dear Irina Valova, are you ready to present? Dear Irina Valova. Dear Vladimir Hristov.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, if you are ready, you can start your presentation.
Hello.
Do you see?
I have a question. My
Okay.
Hello?
Sorry. Who? Dear Masyat Mastrafe, you have question?
yeah. The
Okay.
thing is, in your website, I couldn't find myself or my team in the list. So I just mailed one of you, and he just showed me a picture where it says that my paper has to be submitted or presented in this session, but it is not
Dear
in the list.
Masyat Mastrafe,
So what should I do?
you can write on chat panel. We must continue the symposium session. Okay. You can write to chat panel. Okay. Zoom chat panel. You can write Zoom
I
chat
haven't
panel.
got you. Hello.
Hello.
Are you listening to me?
Yes.
When should I present my paper?
You can write your question over Zoom chat panel. Okay. We must continue the symposium session.
Okay, can I continue?
Okay. Okay.
Hello, everything. I will present the development software for research of static mechanical characteristics in condenser mode of asynchronous motor. In the article, our developed software application provides a convenient and fast way to calculate and draw mechanical characteristics that can be studied by varying the parameters of circuit. The software is written in object-oriented programming language C# and desktop application development of platform for Windows based on the XML programming language, in which the code well structured and easy to read and allows for quick correction of elements, the graphic. In the picture are present the general block diagram of software, of algorithm. This is to chart drawing button. Also initialize variable, and the second PowerPoint is present our software. It have a menu with file, and then we write the parameters, and we can to draw the graphics. We can make to correct the everything of parameter. We can to save these parameters, and we have to make a PDF file. This is the characteristic graphic of which the program is drawn in the condenser mode in asynchronous motor, and then the study is the right graphics is the laboratory laboratory that the student can be research the characteristic. This is the other characteristic which we research of mechanical in different condenser and the conclusion we can say the graphical mode of mechanical characteristic was created with the help of the Oxyplot library, which has many integrated functions both for drawing of data series and for layout of the whole graphic model. The program is divided into methods that are responsible for various functions and develop allows for adaptation to other types of graphics by changing the parameters and adding a new mathematical model for calculation of source code with MIT license, and is free to use in the change by anyway in the future. Thank you for your attention. Any question?
Thank you for your presentation. Dear participant, do you have any question about the paper? Okay, no question. Thank you again. I wish you success in your career.
Thank you.
Next paper belongs to dear Diana Wells.
It's me again, Günter Benderoth from Frankfurt University of Applied Sciences. My colleague, Jana, is not able to give this talk today, so I'm the co-author, will do this for her. I can share the...
You can share your screen.
Okay. So
You can start your presentation.
So now everybody is able to see it?
You have so. 10 minutes at most, okay?
Okay. Okay. You see, this is a more or less traditional one of the projects which you got in engineering here. It's in medical engineering stuff. And we're going to start with the motivation, first of all. What you're going to see over here is two stuffs by the artificial nutrition in different ways. So it's the first one, it's just to say we have a tendency in the population of European countries or North American countries where the people wants to have the opportunity, even if they have such severe sickness, to be able to take part in the all-day life once again. So this is one of the motivations to do it, and the other one is just, you see, in most of the cases are technical solutions, more less cost effective than the one used by humans. And these are the two motivations. So what we are planning to do is just to construct a pumping unit for the artificial nutrition for systems which been pumped directly into the venous system, as can be seen on the next slide on this one. What you're going to see over here is just a port connection, which you have, and here you have the nutrition solution, which you have to pump in. And the problem is that this takes quite a long time. It's up to 16 hours a day. And this is exhausting stuff because it's not only taking the time when you're sleeping, it's also taking quite a lot of the times during the day. And so it's easier for the patients that they've been able to hand it on their own in a hometown condition. And therefore, there is a possible need for it. So what you're going to see over here is just two problems you get with these port connection stuff. So you have the nutrition solution, and on the other hand, you have something like a flushing system, which is needed when you deconnect the system again. And if you want to deconnect it during the whole process on your own, you have also to flush this. And this makes the problems with the project over here. And so we have identified two severe problems within this project. The first one is the connecting stuff. Usually you have such connecting by a Learlock system, which is just to turn it around and you have something to do. And here we have a clicking system in itself. And this was investigated by a study with test persons over them. And the clicking system was ahead of the Learlock system at all. But we have to reconfigure it to make it more safe, as you can see over here. We need to get out notches of the system so that it works perfectly and it doesn't skip during the usage of this one. This was one. And the other one, which I'm going to tell you now, it's the question how to flush the system tall. So the flushing situation is really a problem, because if you have a port where you put in a needle to get connected to the Arena system, the needle should not be sedimented by partitions of the nutrition fluid you get into it. And if you just have a look at the stuff which you just combine into the nutritions, you're going to see over there. And this is its water, carbohydrates, amino acids, fatty vitamins, electrolytes, and drugs. Usually this is a problem because you need to get all the stuff which are difficult to solve into water, like amino acids, like fatty acids, and all the other stuff. So you have to put a lot of emulgating agents to put in to keep all this stuff into the solution, which you just want to fill in all the ground. And afterwards, if you finished it, you have to flush it. And if you want to do this, first of all, we have just to look at the literature situation, and there we see most of the cases where they have studied the sedimentation into the needles of these systems have just been done on the more or less even more artificial systems, that they just put in not the whole solution, which is taken for the nutrition and for the drugs application, but they have only used some parts, let's say some fat or some amino acids. So this is quite artificial for our problem. So we have to do some experimental stuff, which you can see over here. We have just built up two experimental setups. The first one is to see how sedimentation takes place. In this case, we just have the one which is driven by gravity, but we also have to put some pumping system into it, that we have the situation later on in our pumping system which we want to develop. And here you see in number 4, you see all the needles just been into letting out the stuff into a basin where you can take it off. And we try to apply this to look for the applicants and for the sedimentation rates in it, and try to get this reproducible, that we have such a sedimentation. And the sedimentation is evaluated by certain processes with the left scale of the needles. So we put the needle on the scale and measure it without any stuff inside of the needles. Then we got to measure it with all the stuff inside of it after the sedimentation process. And then we try it, and then we measure it once again. So we hope to find with this procedure something which is a number for the type of sedimentation we can see. The second one is given over here, This is just for seeing what's going on if you have this flushing process. At the moment, and if you just have a look at the regulations you have at the hospitals and so on, it's just made by the operating persons, physician or just the clinical personnel, and they just do it by constructing a turbulent flow in it. So they just giving a pulse signal of the flushing liquid running through, and hoping that by these turbulence, they just put out a lot of sediments, which has just been sedimented into the needles. But this is quite qualitatively, there is no quantitative study of this. And this we're going to change here now for this, and even for a more reproducible system, because we want to attach to this one the pumping system, so we can maybe have different schemes of flushing procedures, and want to see which is the optimal flushing procedures. At the moment, what we did is that we have the nutrition liquids without using drugs, and this is just staying by the tests we have made, that there's almost no sedimentation at all. And this is maybe due to the putting to the system into a situation that is all been inside of the liquid again. But the situation is dramatically changed if you have to put, and this is in most cases, in most things, the case that you have to put some drugs in. And these drugs change dramatically the kind of flushing situation. And this will be in our next step, that we will include this kind of testing, and we also have to include our pumping systems, though we can evaluate this. This is lately done. Okay, so here are the sources. Maybe you can have a brief look on it, but you will have this in our paper, which we have published over here. And thank you for your attention.
Thank you for your presentation. Dear participants, do you have any question about this paper? Okay, no questions. Thank you again, dear Günter Benderot.
Okay,
I
thanks.
wish you success.
Thank you.
Dear Gordon Kari Fakhair, are you ready to present?
Yeah, good afternoon. I am Kurdin Khairi, master student in nearest university with the
You have 10 minutes at most, okay?
Yeah.
Please.
Master student in neuroscience with the support of my supervisor, Prof. Malika Shah. We prepared this paper. It's about developing ontology for staff training that's working in humanitarian organization. In this paper, we are more working as regarding the conflict and the war in this world, and the large number of the internal displacement people, and also the refugees person in the overall the world. Many government was not able to control these refugees or displacement people. So the main supportive for preparing the basic need is humanitarian organization. And this humanitarian organization, as they are working in the high emergency place, so they need to be more fast, having staff which is too much high scale to be able to work in the needed time. And this all need staff capacity building, which is too much expensive and also need too much of the time. And it is for sure too much making pressure in this organization. So regarding regarding for all this, and online training or platform, it is one of the solutions to be able to minimize the budget on the humanitarian organization and be able to collect stuff from overall the world in the one time. So regarding that, many humanitarian organizations not have specific platform that work in terms of the training. So when you have platform and when you have staff, they needed to take this training, so you need to have another one who manage it and who be able to more working in terms of the skills that this employee take it and how much it is satisfied for it, and also manage the trainees and the training activities overall in it. So our Sparker, all the interview that we did, it's contained this one, how we will be able to more work in terms of the management of all of these different phases. So regarding the diet, that the humanitarian organization, it is this any non-government organization working in anywhere in the location, which is the body of it, it's not under the control of the government or any politically part, and should also work as a voice of these people in the location and be able to provide a service or support for the needed people. So regarding that, the organization or non-government organization have two basic, let's say, department, which is administration and the program. Administration more working in terms of the internally work like a security, finance, logistics, and IT, to be able to manage or provide the service for the program, let's say program department, which is protection, education, water, sanitation, and hygiene, which we said WASH, and also food security and livelihood, FSL. These program, let's say, department are working direct with the needed people or the people that need to the support. The administration at working in terms to cooperate or to make the needed things for the program. Regarding this shape, you will see in each department and sub-department, there is specific training. The person or the staff that working in this, let's say, department should be taken, as it will be for them a basic knowledge or a knowledge about the department that you're working on it. For example, if I came and I will be in the one of the non-government organization, so there is a specific training I should take it before I started, like the communication skill, like how I will be able to know the NGO's policy, as each NGOs have a specific policy, and the NGO's induction. And if regarding this, I'm working in the one of the program departments, so I should take all this training, plus if I working in education, should I take this education training that we have it, which is the organization specific at. So regarding that, the staff building or staff training about developing the capacity of the person, it is too important to be able to develop the work of the organization and how we will be able to more engage the worker together and also motivate them to be able to learn a new thing, a new principle, which will affect directly in the performance of the organization for sure. Regarding in this, let's say, ontology, it proposes the staff training ontology, and we work it directly how we will be able to do the classes, the properties, the data properties, and object properties, and also we work directly in terms of the semantic web, rule language, and Sparkle query. So if we came in here, that is the classes which we have it, which is consists of all the training that we talk about it in the first diagram, and also the users who will be used this, let's say, platform. It is the administration, the person that work in terms of the manage this platform, also the staff, the person in the this NGO which is take the training, and the trainer who is responsible of this training. Also, we have in each training some materials like PDF, PowerPoint, video, and others. And training evaluation, like this staff will, let's say, react or give an evaluation to this training who take it. Also the test, it's about pre-test or post-test. The test, it means the person before start this training, what type of the knowledge he had it, and after he did it and it done, this knowledge, how much it has been changed. And also the simple knowledge classes, which is mean the organizing between and linking between the training and the level. Like there's a training started with level 1 or 2, like media, pre-intermediate, and the other, or basic training. Here in object property, we try to have more detail on it, like each trainer, which type of the training have it, teach which type, which staff have a mandatory training should take it according to the position he have it on the location, and each staff is associated with which training, the training published by whom, and also we have border and narrower, which I will more clearly and by details explain on it in the other slide. Here we have some data properties like the staff, how much, let's say, experience have it, date of join for him to the organization, each training, how much time it take it, this training has a certification or not, the language they have it, the post-test that each staff did it, and pre-test, as we say, the first test that they did is pre-test, and after they finalize the training, they will have another test to know the change that he have it, and another many things, and if this training has been completed or not, for sure from the staff. And also training data published, like in which date have been published, or maybe there is more than have been after that edited and published again. So all these affect directly on that. This also, it is a part of the simple instance that we have it, and we work it a lot on it. This is the part of it. It is for the training that we have it. We have many other, but only I present this one. Here we will talk about what we have it, which is the simple knowledge. It is type of the classes, which is a vocabulary. It's working in terms to link between the online training department and the subject in each department, like the training subject of each department regarding the program. Like for example, if you say program subject here, we will say it contain the training regarding the program subject. It contain child rights, gender equality, and woman right. And also all this we will do it. This all depending on this paragraph that we did it in the beginning, which is say by detail type of each one, and each one which one contain it. Regarding that, we did a border and narrower for all this what we have it regarding to the each one depending for which as be use it as a vocabulary of it is to be able. So that is the as we say simple knowledge organization system. Here we have, as we have many staff take the same training, and we have many training also. So to be able to keep on the track the multiple training that each staff taken with the different, there is a different staff and different training. So we use a blank note. Blank note is type of the note that we will be able to recording on it to link the many staff we have it with the each training that it take it. Like for example, if you have a staff one which take this training, which is here X, we have a pre-test result with 16 and post-test result with 19, and this X, or we name it as X, is associated with child right with this, and this it's also type of RDF type of the child right. It also belongs to the child right, but for the each step it will be different. And the same here for the staff number 2, it have a specific let's say blank note, which explain that in this blank note the staff 2 take a pre-test with this much and post-test and for this, and this also is blank. It's belonging to the child right training, which is linked direct to the child right training, the basic one we have. In this paper, we also worked direct to develop ontologic and also a Sparkle querying. We did many, but this is the part of the, let's say, some of them I put it here. Like, for example, by Sparkle query, how we'll be able to know the years of trainers experience that they have it, the number of trainers we have it in each platform we have it, because this platform have been directed for one non-government organization, and they wanted to manage it. And also the staff information enrolled to each online for the online training. For example, how many training this staff, what is the name of him, which training take it, what is the position of him, in which department he worked, and also the email of it. Also information about training and what type of training, the date that we had it, the subject, the duration of the training, and it teach by who, like what is the name of the trainer, and overall. Also here we will have another thing to be able to know who is the best in this skill or this thing by pre and posters that we did it. Here we can have the management of the training and how the staff has been focusing on them training, but not from the posters. Like here we did a Sparkle query to know each one in that take a child right, each staff that take a child right online training and have a posted score more than 90. Here we will know the most qualified person or most focused person and have a good knowledge in the specific skill or thing, as it is emergency time and we need to be quick in our work. Here also we work in term interference using the rules, semantic web rules. We did many, that is the part of them. Like for the first one is check whether the education staff completed training or not. Like each staff, which type of the training have been completed or not, or take it in the middle and then get it out from the training. The second one, like the staff or the protection staff completed the training or not. And also the third one, which is the last, we make it about defining the borders department of the staff, like each staff it's working in which department. As a conclusion for our paper that we have it, here we can say that as a conclusion that this ontology is working for the humanitarian organization. It is like a mechanical proposable data, have a data about the staff of the online training and the capacity development activities, with this help in term to be able to propose ontology for the staff knowledge and skill and tracking them, to be able for the NGO to work more in term how they will be able to work in term to develop the strategy of the work and also the strategy of capacity building of the staff, which is it is one of the main let's say goal of them. And also it's work in terms how they will be able to let's say to do the semantic web rule in the our ontology. And in the future we are working more to be able to make user interference will be implemented for this user with no technical background, like someone with not working with semantic web on other, to be able to use this part. So in the end, thank you. Please, if anyone have any question.
Thank you for your presentation. Dear person, do you have any question about this paper?
Yes, Günter Wenderoth once again. I got a question. Could you go to the slide where you have shown your dependency graph?
Which one?
This one, that's right, yeah. No,
This one?
just this one. That's right. Okay. Here you got some notes where you have indicated numbers like 60, 90, 80, 50. What's that?
Okay. When we do any type of the training, you needed to test your knowledge before you started the training.
Mhm.
So in the humanitarian organization, you will do training before you attend the training. You will do a test before you attending the training and after you attend the training. Like we will start in the beginning. You will do a test to know the level of your knowledge on this
Okay.
subject. After you continue the training, like maybe it take 20 hours, 4 hours, depending on the duration of the training. After that, you will take another test. You will get another test. So when you get the second test, here like it is evaluation for the monitoring person or the person who evaluate to know that the change that happened for the trainees. Like
So
it
the
has
numbers
been
have something to do with the
discriminated.
scoring of the tests they have passed?
Exactly. It's
Uh-huh.
like
And what's going to
yeah.
happen after you have put this in these categories? Is it's just a sync? Nothing happens after it?
For here, because you are working direct to the manage it. It's not about taking the decision what we should do, but in real life,
So
should they
it's a
take
classical
another
sync, yeah? Because you just categorize them and another institution has to decide what to do with them.
No, because here we are working in terms how you will be able to manage it, how we will be able to represent this thing. Yeah,
Okay. Good. Thanks a lot.
you most welcome.
Thank you again. I wish you success in your career.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dear Masyat Masrafe. Dear Masyat Masrafe. Are you ready to present? Dear Masyat Masrafe. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Hello. If you are ready, you can start your presentation.
Am I audible?
If you are ready, you can start your presentation.
Okay.
You have 10 minutes, please.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm really very privileged to present my paper. And the title of my paper is An Effort to Analyze and Interpret Data Received from Infineon Position to Go module in a process to fabricate a prototype phased array radar. So in this presentation, the paper was written by myself, Ibn Mashat Roshan Mashrafi, from Military Institute of Science and Technology. It's in Bangladesh, and you can see my other co-authors here. Okay, let's see what we'll see in this presentation. The sequence will be in introduction, objectives, then research methodology, then result and discussion. Then we will see a short video demonstration, and then the conclusion. So as introduction, radar is basically a detection system that uses the radio wave to determine the distance, angle, or radial velocity of an object which is in front of it. And in phased array radar, it's basically an electron scanned array. Normally, if your object is in front of you, if it goes in your right or left, you have to move your antenna in left or right. But in case of phased array antenna, it's totally electronically steered. So you need not require any type of motor to move your antenna. So basically, our objective is to know, the objective was to know the detail about the phased array radar system fundamentals, then the knowledge on radar attributes such as antenna patterns, electronic beam scanning, offsetting, and to analyze the implement the knowledge. So why we go with the phased array radar? Because in conventional disk radar limitation, I have already mentioned that it's quite huge. You have to install a moving system with it, and in case of phased array radar, it's literally very lightweight and small in size and easy to move. So here you can see the phased array radar, how electronically steers its beam to detect different objects in front of it. So here you can see electronically the beam is steered, and through using Doppler effects and other stuffs, we can actually detect different moving objects. And in case of the conventional disk radar, you can see how much effort you have to give to install the infrastructure. Sorry for the
Please try it again.
So in case of detection of of objects, what we did is that at first the signal was transmitted from the device. Then when it was reflected from the object in front of it, we combined the receipt signal and the transmitted signal, and through some mixing and IF signal generation and Fourier transformation, we actually calculate what is the range of our object and it is in which angle in front of us. And we have to cater with the noises also. That's why we have to calculate the threshold also. In that case, sorry, what we did at first, without transmitting anything, we just captured the noise and the existing clutter in the environment using the RX antenna. Only the receiver antenna was incorporated, and we captured the noise, then analyzed the amplitude level of the noise. Then we set up an algorithm for optimum adaptive threshold, because this noise will hamper both the transmitted signal and received signal also. And after comparing actual range and angle information with calculated range and angle information, we find out the trend of the error. And after finding the error, we offsetted that threshold value to suppress the error depending on the error trend. So you can see this is the firmware design. The device starts, and in the main loop we have frame trimmers interrupts, then raw data acquisition and radar algorithm. And after that, we actually show the result in the GUI, graphical user interface, and there is also a host protocol communication in the GUI system. And if we talk about this experimental setup, then you can see this was the radar module we used. This is the position to go radar module. These are the parameters. You can see it works in 24 gigahertz frequency, and it has one TX antenna, and also it has RX antenna, and you can see other parameters. If we talk about the experimental setup, we had some moving target, remote control moving target, and we also had a hardware mounting system. Then this was the actual setup. Here you can see the moving target. This is the position to go, basically our radar transceiver, and we have a laptop system for the radar scope or graphical user interface. Here you can see we used a different shape of object when we detected the object for 30 meters, because in case of longer distance, radar RCS also very important. So in longer distance, small objects actually doesn't get detected. So we build our own objects with aluminum foil and cork sheet. Then we also tested our setup for 50 meter, and in that case we used a very large object, and that was a private car. And result and discussion, if we talk about the result and discussion, and you can see in the GUI we can actually find out what is in front of us and at which angle it is standing in front of us. And if it is moving, you can also see that the red dot actually represents the object in front of you. And through the MATLAB analysis of interface raw data and quadrature raw data, we can see the approaching and water departing. For approaching an object which is approaching in front of you or towards you, you can see this kind of curve, and in when it is departing, you can see a different type of curve. So here what the object in front of you is departing or approaching depending on the MATLAB analysis. Let's see a video demonstration of the project. Here you can see the longitudinal movement object. The GUI is showing the position of the object as a red dot. We have tested the system for the lateral movement. You can see for the lateral movement, you can also get an indication for the object. The orthogonal system. And in case of longer range, we have to use a object that is that has more RCS. That means that is large enough to reflect the radar signal. So that was my presentation. So if you have any question.
Thank you for your presentation. Do you have any question about the article, dear participants? Okay, no question. Thank you again. I wish you success in your career.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Dear participants, I want to end the session. Thank you for your attending. I wish all participants continued success. First session of the day is over. Next section of the day starting at 1:30. Hope to see you at next sessions. Good afternoon.